Today's episode of the Sunday Night Talk is here. It is ready. Me and Omar record this Sunday night as the fourth quarter of the Sunday night game Titans-Rams is going on. So we report that. We talk about a slew of stuff. Aaron Rodgers at the top, his team, my team, LA sports, and then we round it off with legal ramifications. Good one this week. Hey, but first, if you are on the West Coast, if you're in the LA area, this Thursday, November 11th, 9:30, catch me doing live stand-up comedy right here at Flappers Comedy Club. FlappersComedy.com is where you go for all the info, or right here to me. I have the hookup as well, so you can hit me up and see me doing live stand-up comedy. That's what I do. That's what I do here in town, so come out. There's a bunch of people on that show that you will love to see as well. So that's what's going on this week for me. This week on the show, what a weird week 9, Underdog Sunday, coming out of the gate with a ton of surprises. Dallas, Denver, surprise. Atlanta, New Orleans, surprise. Vegas, New York Giants, disappointing surprise. We talk about it all, not to mention we dive deep into a couple subjects off topic, as we usually do, and a fun legal ramifications with me and Omar Carmona. The Sunday Night Talk for week 9 in the NFL happens right now. All right, it is Sunday night, time for the Sunday Night Talk, recording this 7:47 West Coast time on a very interesting daylight savings time Sunday, Underdog Sunday. Every week the league gets weirder and weirder. We have 11:30 left in the fourth quarter of the Sunday night game. I don't think this game is over. We've had some duds of Sunday night games. I don't think this game's over. Do you?
No, Matt Stafford, I mean, this Rams offense, they are good enough to come back in the fourth quarter, put 2 scores up and fairly quickly. But this now vaunted Rams defense is going to have to make some stops.
Yeah, I think it was all Titans first half, and then it can easily be the other team's second half. Like, as we saw in lots of games today, like a lot of teams just hung around. And then some pulled away, some got it. But here's my storylines going into Sunday night game. By the way, a good matchup for once. We got a great matchup. 6-2 Tennessee coming into SoFi Stadium against 7-1 LA Rams. Storylines are no Derrick Henry for the Tennessee Titans. Adrian Peterson turns down Dancing with the Stars to come back and play running back for the Tennessee Titans.
Good for AP. Good for AP.
Yeah, and he's playing. He's making a contribution. How many Sunday night games have we had at SoFi? Is it me, or does it seem like we've had 3 already this year?
Right. Yeah, for sure.
And then lastly, I don't know if you caught the Michael Buffer intro over the kickoff in this game. They were doing like a Michael Buffer, "Are you ready to rumble?" trying to get the crowd psyched. But he did it during the kickoff, it seemed. I couldn't figure that out.
And I'm going to have some questions for you on Los Angeles, in LA. I mean, football back in LA. It's Hollywood. Is there a true fan base there, or are people going to the games because it's LA and that's the place to be? And that's where we want to be seen. Like, are they real football fans? Is this like the Dog Pound? Is it like Raider Nation, the Black Hole, the Hogs in Washington? What's going on with LA football?
Sports in Los Angeles is interesting because, number one, you're already in a city where you have a saturation of entertainment. We already have a lot of entertainment options here. Secondly, we have a ton of people who are not from LA. And typically you bring your team with you when you move to a new town. So I had a job and I worked Sundays, and I would go to open the store at 10 a.m. Games on the West Coast start at 10 a.m. here. And when I'm driving to work, I would see everybody in their jersey going to brunch and bars to watch games. And it was Miami jerseys, it was Cleveland jerseys, it was Raider jerseys. So the fan base is a little bit distributed here. Now, if you were to ask me who's LA's team, if I were to build a hierarchy, it is Lakers first.
I'll agree with that.
Are the team. Secondly, Dodgers are the team. And then thirdly, I would say it's a toss-up between USC and whoever is good in the NFL. There's some Kings and some Clippers every now and again get in the mix, but that's my hierarchy. And it's interesting, in those mid-2000s when LA didn't have a football team, it was a USC town.
Right.
It was Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush, Pete Carroll.
That was the ticket. That was the big ticket item.
So when you talk about like what is LA sports base, there's a lot to be seen. If you notice this, the Lakers and Clippers use the same arena. Lakers games are lit differently. They're lit and you can see the first few rows of the audience. Clippers games are way darker. You can't see the audience. So LA Laker games is like, oh, let's see who's in the audience. Let's see who's in the stands. So times I've gone to LA Laker games, half the fun is bringing your binoculars and looking at the front rows and seeing who is there, see if you recognize anybody. So big to be seen thing in LA for sure. Plus no one is ever on time in LA to Laker games either. So it's a late showing crowd as well.
Like, could you ever imagine a place, and I know we really went off topic here. I don't think we were planning on talking about this, but could you ever see, you know how the Dome in New Orleans, I mean, that place, I mean, opposing teams just talk about how the noise, I mean, when that crowd is behind you, the noise in Seattle, do you ever think there'll ever be a time where SoFi is known for the noise?
Yeah.
For the Rams or Chargers?
Yeah, I could see that. I was thinking this, if we were to get the fan base to flip and really get behind an LA football team, because the Chargers I still call them the San Diego Chargers by accident.
I do too. I do too.
You got to give me 3 years. Give me 3 years and
we're going against, you and I have been football fans, I remember, since we were 5, 6, 7 years old, and so we're going against 33 plus years of the San Diego Chargers.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's kind of like when your grandma or grandpa still uses the word colored. That's our San Diego.
Right.
So and then someone has to say like, no, you have to understand, they're from a different time. We're from San Diego time.
Yeah.
I was thinking to get the LA sports base to really flip on LA football. Not only do we need one of the LA teams to become a dynasty, essentially, we need a draft pick from like USC to be on that team, or maybe UCLA.
Oh, yeah.
We need that. And then we can get the base to flip, because it's going to be very hard to dethrone what the Lakers have built.
And who knows? Now that the NCAA rules have changed where, you can pay up amateur athletes and they won't lose college eligibility. I mean, maybe now is the time for SC to, really get those big headliners, give them a big house up in Calabasas, and, they can take their chopper into class to, just check in with the attendance. And
well, we've seen with players being able to choose their cities and their teams, the huge markets, Los Angeles and New York, are number one for all these players.
Absolutely.
And especially if we're recruiting, if you can pay players now, or players can earn a salary from the ages of 18 on up, it's going to be a media savvy or a media heavy place that they can build followings. And it's going to be Los Angeles. So if we put it on that side of the argument, it's going to happen. And all the middle market teams are going to have to up their game somehow.
I just think what LA has is just like, you can put these guys in a TV show, a commercial, and they know that their exposure is going to be, multiplied by who knows how much,
Yeah, which I have no problem with. The lifespan of a career of a professional athlete is very short. You have to make
get your payday. Get your payday.
You have to make as much hay as while the sun is shining, and if you can build something off the field, then You have to do it. You have to do that.
LA
So,
football, interesting, and and I think maybe that's why moves like Von Miller and you put him on a defensive on paper super team, and I say on paper because we got to still see how it's all going to gel. Put him with Aaron Donald, Jalen Rodgers. Is the owner for the Rams at Kroenke? Is it between him and the Chargers ownership? Is it like a race for that title? Like we got to get to that title first, so that this fan base gets behind us because people love a winner.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We got a race between Rams and Chargers for who can get a championship first, who can get the biggest slice of this pie. So, by the way, with Von Miller, he's not playing yet. They pulled off the trade before the deadline this week. Did you catch he's on the sideline drinking, it looks like coffee. He was drinking like an insulated cup. Usually the players, have like Gatorade, but I think he was drinking coffee.
Well, I think, and I've been reading up on this, a big thing is athletes drink a lot of coffee with that MCT. They just love it. I got to try it. I don't know.
Did it bother you a little bit in the first half of this game? I think Matt Stafford was doing his best Carson Wentz impression.
Boy, that's been said. He was
doing the thing where you're getting tackled and falling down and then throw the ball right into another defender. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why they feel they can't take a sack. I think it's psychological with that one in the end zone. I think somehow it is so emasculating to get called for a safety that quarterbacks will do anything to throw the ball out of the end zone.
Right.
So I'm keeping an eye on this game. Rams at the 50. It's 21-9 still, and we still have 8 minutes to go. So I don't think the game is over. We're going to keep tabs on it. By the way, Paris Hilton's at this game. Did you see that?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, is she really a Rams fan, or is she just want to be seen?
No, this is LA for you. It's very fickle. It's like we got a team. All right, great. We got a team. All right, who else is here? Who else is what else is going on here? No one makes eye contact in this town. Everyone's constantly looking who else is in the room. So that's LA sports for you, but LA does love a winner. We love the Lakers. If I were to take a bet over under 10,000 Kobe Bryant murals on the sides of buildings, I don't know if I would pick the under. I think I would go over.
Yeah, 10,000 seems like a weak number.
There's a lot of Kobe murals on the side of barbershops here. Here's my other thing I made a little note of. I was trying to keep track of the songs they play into a commercial Sunday night. Here's what I got. They played Manic Monday. They played Boogie Oogie Oogie. They played Kings of Leon. And they played Boulevard by Jackson Brown. So the classic rock theme, which I love, is very strong on Sunday night.
It is.
Game's not even over. Game's not even over yet either, by the way. So they could play some Eagles by the time we're done. Rams still driving.
Good.
And also I like this quote. It was about halfway through the third quarter. Chris Collinsworth says, "Would you say this is a strange game?" It was just a moment of self-reflection there. Chris Collinsworth says that to Al Michaels. Let's talk some Sunday headlines going into week 9. By the way, we're halfway done with the season. We're just halfway done.
Yeah.
So still long ways to go. Okay, Sunday headlines. It was an underdog Sunday. Atlanta, New York, Denver, Jacksonville, all won today. The Jordan Love era begins in Green Bay. And then, of course, this Sunday night game, Clash of the Titans. So let's start with underdog Sunday. New York beats my Las Vegas Raiders. And
I did not see that coming. But you got to think, I mean, that's too many ups and downs for this Raiders team. At some point,
cross country.
Your
away game.
Your psyche can only take so much. Then I think late reports, right before the weekend that there was a Raider. What was he? A DB that he's showing a gun on TikTok that he's gonna kill someone. I mean, it's just. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say.
We lost Gruden. Then we have Henry Ruggs, which is just a tragedy 100 times over. This is brutal. And they're showing like the mug shots of him and the shots of him in the police station. And you just are thinking like, I'm watching a guy's life end. I'm watching a guy's professional career end. I'm watching him face horrible charges. It's brutal to see. There's no other way to think about this.
And then most importantly, someone else died.
Right.
And that's the most horrific thing about this. And yeah, I mean, it's just tragedy all over the place. But he's gonna have to pay for what he did.
Yeah.
And that's just the system we live in. And if you're an athlete, or doesn't matter if you're Joe Schmo, you got to pay for it. So
then we have the other Raider DB flashing guns online, and then we go across country to New York, and I'm thinking classic trap game, and this team is going to slide from the rest of the season on out. So, and of course they lose, but I was kind of worried when they lost against the Chargers. I was like, okay, they could rebound. So I'm still hoping they can rebound, but the Giants win, Raiders lose. I'm concerned. Atlanta wins at the end of the game with a field goal. Jacksonville goes into or beats Buffalo.
Let's go back. Let's go back to that Atlanta New Orleans. Are we really that shocked though? I mean, okay, I know that wasn't upset on paper, but is it that shocking? Trevor Siemian is the Saints starting quarterback, and let's think about that for a second, okay? This isn't Drew Brees, okay? Jameis had started a lot of games before, whether he was great or made some mistakes, you couldn't see. It doesn't matter. He had a lot of NFL experience. Trevor Siemian really didn't do much in Denver, and now he's just got the starting job, in New Orleans. And a team that's basically now as a franchise, they are experiencing life after Drew Brees, So I'm not and then he's playing an experienced Matt Ryan who has seen a lot of regular season success. Notice how I just limited it to regular season success, but still successful nonetheless. Passing records, statistically he's spot on. So I'm not, on paper, yes, was there a spread? Yes, I get it, but am I so shocked with this upset? Not really.
Oh, not shocked, huh?
No, I mean, it's a division game, and Atlanta Saints, I mean, they are a fierce rivalry, so I'm not... I know it was an upset, this is the least shocking upset to me.
Okay. Saints are in purgatory. Raiders are in purgatory right now. They could both go either way. And then...
Hey, Bills! You're about to mention the Bills. They're in purgatory. I don't know what's going on with these guys. We talked, asked me, how you feeling about your boy Josh Allen? Well, I don't know if I want to call him anymore. I mean, he's kind of bothering me, and it's annoying, and I'm looking around, I'm checking my options,
Okay. Really weird game. 9-6 is the score. Josh Allen is doing his Carson Wentz impression, throwing the ball while falling down all over the place.
Hey, and then ever since this whole Urban Meyer thing, okay,
2-1.
They're 2-1. I mean, they're playing winning football. So I mean,
doesn't it feel like a million years ago that we were wagging our little fingers against Urban Meyer?
Doesn't winning change everything?
Yes, it feels like Urban Meyer and some chick dancing on him was the least of our concerns at this point. So that's how it goes, and we're halfway through the season. Biggest shocker. How about Dallas having 0 points for almost this whole game, almost getting shut out?
Wow.
Denver and Teddy Whitegloves Bridgewater.
Now that game, so I'm going to put that I did think, as big as my complaints are with Josh Allen, I did think that the two locks for the week were Buffalo and Dallas. And I think I even said last week that these are my second half Super Bowl. It's my second half Super Bowl prediction.
Right, that was your way too early prediction.
I cursed them. And and it's just, Dallas just had no fight today.
Dak looked rusty. They couldn't stop Denver for anything. Denver was running all over them. And then, to my surprise, they're doing shots of the crowd. There's a ton of Denver fans.
Well, that's a good traveling group, too.
Denver is, and they all
Yeah.
came to Dallas. And at some point when the game's out of hand in the fourth quarter, I could hear multiple times the chant of "Let's go Broncos" from the crowd. So this was Denver's day to go into Big D, and they just put a killing
Yeah, ass
on
whooping.
Dallas. Just a whooping. It was a lot of rough slow motion shots of Mike McCarthy looking disappointed.
And all these Denver players, I can't even name them because I don't know who the hell they are. And they're thinking like, who is this guy? I haven't seen this guy before.
Well, an interesting week for teams that were missing people. Denver trades away Von Miller. They go into Dallas and just put a beat down on them. Green Bay doesn't have Aaron Rodgers this week. They go into KC, and they couldn't look like they needed Aaron Rodgers more than this week. So it kind of begs the question, hey, if I am COVID listed, I'm the coach, I'm the quarterback, or if I get traded, how do I want my team to perform with me not on the team? Do I want them to take a whooping so that I sound somewhat more valuable? I think Von Miller is kind of like, or Aaron Rodgers is like, oh, you guys want me back now, don't you? He goes,
they do. I mean, let's okay. From a football standpoint, you as much as you may, not want to talk about where we stand with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, bottom line is the guy did lie, but that's just my take. Okay, he lied and he's a scumbag. I think that's what I think. But you can't underestimate his value as an NFL starting quarterback for that one franchise. He's the Packers. He's Mr. Green Bay.
We were talking MVP last week.
And I think that with what he's done, I think you and I are probably a little more old school, even though we were too young. We're probably, when we think Packers, we're gonna say that Bart Starr won 2 championships. The other 2 guys have won 1 each. So it's still a Bart Starr town. I hope.
Oh, really? You are old school.
Yeah, but only because I think the other 2 are just came out to be sort of jerks. You know what I mean? When it was all said and done.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is because it's Green Bay. I think these guys just got too good, and it's such a small town. They probably had this extra aura of I'm untouchable. But let's look at on the other script. How bad is Kansas City? If Jordan Love is starting his first game, and all they could do is muster 13 first half points.
And they missed 2 field goals, Green Bay, as well. This game could have been very easily won by Green Bay accidentally. It's the Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love starting for Aaron Rodgers story really took over the fact that KC looked bad in that game.
What is the Chiefs' excuse? I mean,
I don't know. I can't figure it out anymore. Nobody's hurt.
They have Kelsey. They have Tyreek Hill and other phenomenal receivers, okay? I mean, Andy Reid, he's the experience and his play calling. What is with Mahomes?
I don't know. I can't figure out other than the league is caught up or that Mahomes is bored or we have the curse of Andy Reid cursing the team and they're just not destined to ever be good for an extended period of time. I don't fully understand why they look so sluggish. They look so off point. KC, Mahomes is overthrowing passes to receivers he hits in the past. Kelsey's dropping balls. They're just they're 95% there, and that 5% is what they're losing games on. They should have not lost today. I think they would have pulled this out. Packers had no offense. Yeah. No offense. Jordan Love put together a couple of good drives, and then he would get picked or they would stall out.
Right.
So the Chiefs story is going to be clouded by this Jordan Love thing, but the Chiefs look very bad, and they're lucky to get the win on a day where the Raiders lost as well. So they make up ground in the AFC, and then the Chargers won, so they take the AFC West lead as well. Do you want to talk Aaron Rodgers? Do you have a thought on Aaron Rodgers? Did you watch his?
Oh yeah, I think his true. I think his true colors came out.
What are those colors, though? Tell me, because I've heard a bunch of different versions of this week. So,
all he had to do, Patrick, is say, "My body, my choice." Okay, do I agree? I'm vaccinated. My family's vaccinated this last week. I took my kids to get vaccinated. They're not growing tails, at least not, today.
I'm going to be worried if your son flips his favorite team, though.
That could be. He's got bragging rights in this household this week, though. And we'll get to that. But all he had to say in the beginning was, look, my body, my choice. And as much as I disagree with it, Cole Beasley said the same thing in the beginning of the year. And guess what? No one's talking about Cole Beasley anymore with his vaccination status. We are prisoners of the moment, okay? And so the fact that he lied and said, I'm immunized, he knew what he was doing. Don't give me that bullshit. He knew what he was doing. And he was being deceptive, and he was trying to skirt the rules. And I think, Green Bay is now saying, oh, we couldn't. They let him get away with it. And I think probably because everybody in that building walks on eggshells when Aaron Rodgers is around. Okay?
Yeah.
And
I see that.
They proved that with the whole, charade, or that, the nonsense that happened last offseason. Okay? So they let him get, they are just as at fault. And so, you know what, man? Aaron Rodgers, I don't care for the guy. And then he comes out and then he uses a quote from Martin Luther King. I mean, the fact that comparing those, himself and Martin Luther King, which is essentially a comparison, it's so out there, and now he's gonna say, well, cancel culture this, and hey, I'm not for cancel culture, and I don't like all this stuff that we see for the most part, but you know what? Stop blaming other people and just say, look, I messed up.
I don't think he thinks he messed up, though.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I don't agree with what most you have said. However, I think he misled on purpose because he didn't want to get the flack. He didn't want to get the follow-up question. Because, by the way, if we all believe, when I say my body, my choice, what do we instantly think of? Abortion.
Right.
We instantly think it's the person's choice. So if I say my body, my choice with a vaccine, indicating that I will not take it, you get vilified. So it's swinging both ways here, and it doesn't hold consistency. When he said, I've been immunized, he was misleading because he didn't want to get the follow-up question, and he didn't want to have to say no to the press. When he says, I don't want to take this cancel stuff, and then Bill Simmons on his podcast, Mike Florio on his, all hammered Rodgers. And they're like, who's coming after you? Who's coming after you? I was like, hello, it's the only thing we've been talking about for 48 hours.
Yeah, everyone's coming after him.
We've called them selfish. We've called them a liar. What do you mean you're coming after him? And I don't think the press liked Rodgers before this, though.
I mean, we're talking about a guy. I mean, you bring up a point. I didn't mean to cut you off, and you bring up a good point, because who's the one quarterback that, as far as talent-wise, we put him with? Mm-hmm. We talk the same on the football field. That's the way we talk about Tom Brady as far as his talent, right?
Yeah, he's elite.
I mean,
yeah,
his clutch. But look at the two differences. I mean, when Tom, I don't want to, when Tom Brady's mother had her battle with cancer, and Tom Brady's father is, if he's ever had issues, Tom Brady just seems like this really close. And of course, I don't know him off the field, obviously. But
right. We don't know Aaron Rodgers either. And
I don't know Aaron Rodgers either. Yeah. The image, though, is that Tom Brady is this, absolutely squeaky clean. It's just a wholesome, it makes you think something wholesome. On the other hand, we talk a lot about, well, Aaron Rodgers didn't even talk to his family anymore. And again, another way you vilify the guy.
Again, we don't know the circumstances of why.
We don't know.
Right.
His brother was on the Bachelor. Who knows what story he was trying to tell? You know what I mean?
Well, it's interesting. I've thought about this too with athletes that become dominant or dynasties. Because remember, we shit on Tom Brady for a long time with the Deflategate stuff.
Yeah.
We did not know the ins and outs of that case. A judge threw that out of court. There was nothing to investigate there. Yet the NFL suspended Tom Brady. And then for a while, it was Patriots are cheaters, they're cheaters, Tom Brady. And then somehow Tom Brady flipped it and he's All-American. But it seems like on the way up, we are for you. When you get to the top, now we think you're a jerk. I think that's just human nature. Think about with bands. Every band that gets popular, the response is always like, I knew them before they sold out. They sold out.
Yeah.
I think it's just human nature that we want to shit on whoever is above us because it makes us feel better. It's easy to do too. It's easy to do in the media. It's easy to react that way because no one wants to root for the guy who's already won it 3 times.
Right.
We want to see them fall. We want to see them slip on the pavement and fall on their face because we feel better about ourselves. It's the old adage when it comes to writing jokes. The best jokes are the ones where the audience feels smart. Think about any monologue joke when you tell a little joke and the audience gets it because they're like, oh, I get that reference. I get that connection.
Makes them feel better.
Yeah, so it's a very strange thing that Tom Brady has become All-American, but he was fighting uphill for a little bit there with the Deflategate stuff and that kind of craziness. And I think
let me ask you
Rodgers
this.
is battling that now, I think.
Let me ask you this. If the same question were fielded to Tom Brady in August, and he said immunized, and he wasn't vaccinated, would he be catching the same shit Aaron Rodgers is catching today?
Yeah, good question. Let's flip it. Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady got the positive and he did that. I think he would get shit. I do think that. I think there was some
as bad.
I don't think as bad because
I don't think
Rodgers
as bad
has the pedigree from the offseason. I think we could have drawn on a little bit of Tom Brady was friends with Trump. I think we could have drawn on a little bit of that to get a little fuel on the fire for this. But
I think it's a difference. Aaron Rodgers basically saying like we talk about the offseason, well, I don't want to be in Green Bay anymore, so he kind of comes off like an asshole.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, like, well, this franchise, the Patriots, they didn't want me anymore. Poor me. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it is a very different narrative.
I think Tom Brady would have been a lot more calculated in the midweek podcast. Like Aaron Rodgers goes.
Tom Brady would not have said that.
No, he would have had
his handlers would have fixed that problem.
Yeah, and Aaron Rodgers shoots from the hip, and maybe that's why I like Aaron Rodgers because he's like a gunslinger. He does his own thing. He's not going to dance it, and he said it. I'm going to be vilified by the left, and I'm going to be made a champion by the right, and I want nothing to do with either of these sides. That part I do like is like I'm not into choosing sides. I'm going to do what's best for me. I'll make my decision. And he's taking the punishments. He's not skirting the rules there. He knew what he was doing. He's taking the punishment. He's not fighting the punishment. So I think that is a little bit different. I think he's already not welcome in the media from his offseason stuff. But remember last week when he did the interview on field from the Thursday night game, he's listing players' names that did a great job in the game. He's listing the player that they traded for that week. So he's very hard to figure out. I think he's a team guy, but I think out of the locker room, he's not going to give you anything. Very Barry Bonds-like, where Barry Bonds hated the media, and the media hated him back.
I don't see Aaron Rodgers as the type of guy that would take the guys out, the O-line out for steaks after practice on a Wednesday.
No, you don't think so? Didn't he have a Halloween party, or did he go to someone's Halloween party?
I want to question if he hadn't invited a single teammate of his Halloween party.
Yeah, I could see that too. I could see him being a total shut-in, mysterious guy like that, and on Sunday, he's your best friend, and then when the game's over, he doesn't know you, doesn't answer. I could see that. He's an odd guy. I told you before, he's Cat Stevens, Aaron Rodgers. He's a mysterious guy.
Yeah.
How about this for a hypothetical? How awkward would it be if the Packers win the Super Bowl and Goodell has to hand over that trophy to Aaron Rodgers on the field? Wouldn't you love to see that? Wouldn't you like to see that?
I mean, they better be wearing a mask.
Oh, definitely. We heard his thoughts on masks too. I liked his statement. I like that it was his words. At least
he did not
know he's being genuine about his response, and I feel like I agreed with like 80% of what he said. And then on one of them, who was it? It was Max Kellerman wanted to know about the protocol that Aaron Rodgers was taking. He's like, okay, great, do whatever you want, but you got to tell us what you're doing. And like this whole year has been like, there is such a thing as a HIPAA violation. You can't go ask someone what their
No,
medical. You can't.
can't.
We want to know. We can't. But I can't go up to some people, and I very badly would want to, and ask, "Have you taken your antidepressants today?"
And then the good question is like, when the
Can I
president
ask this?
when Trump was in office and we heard, certain medical visits, that he was having, even some that were unscheduled. It's like, what the hell's wrong with him? It's like, well, maybe none of your fucking business. You know what I mean? Just like, and people say, well, he's the president. We have to know. No, we don't have to know everything.
I'll bend a little bit on persons in office for transparency's sake, but you're right. There are some things where like, okay, the dude's taking ED meds. That's his business. We can't say, hey, what's in that bottle? So when like family members and stuff just randomly ask you, did you take the vaccine? Did you take the vaccine? Like, this is a medical decision. You can't just ask people what their medical history is. Have you ever had a miscarriage? Have you ever taken antidepressants? Have you ever been to therapy? You cannot ask these questions to people and then get mad when you say, this is between me and my physician. So beyond that, I have no thoughts on the matter. You want to talk? Let's get right into our categories. If the season ended today, we got a shakeup in the AFC. We got...
Oh, I love this question. I got an answer for you because now that I'm dumping Josh Allen. Go on.
Okay,
Ask away.
Who is our AFC Conference Championship matchup? If the season ended today, who do you like?
Baltimore Ravens hosting, based on power rankings, my power rankings, hosting the Tennessee Titans. Baltimore moving on to the Super Bowl.
Oh, you think Tennessee, this loss of Derrick Henry is not going to trip them up?
Didn't today against the high-powered Rams offense.
28-9, a minute 32 left in the game. Tennessee just came in, and again, underdog Sunday, no running back. Adrian Peterson was dancing with the stars, and now they came and whooped the 7-1 Rams. So Tennessee, Baltimore, you like in our way too early AFC division.
Baltimore, here's where Baltimore is scary. If you are the other, 15 teams in that conference, is, hey guys, Baltimore can come back from behind now. Remember, one of the hallmarks of the Kansas City Super Bowl runs have been these guys get behind early and they're winning the football at the game at the end. And Baltimore is now learning how to win from behind. That makes them even more scary. So I really like the Ravens.
Okay, let's go NFC. Who's your NFC representatives?
So hard because, it's like on weeks that you want to say, okay, it's the Rams, and then look, we have 28-9 with a minute and a half left. On weeks that we say, it's the Cardinals, still have the best record, even though the Packers beat them. But, but again, uninspired performance in my opinion against the Packers. I thought they were better than that. But then today they win without Kyler Murray. They win without DeAndre Hopkins, AJ Green. They win without Chase Edmonds, and they destroy the 49ers. We don't even have to talk about that. If we can't beat Colt McCoy at home, we're not a real football team.
35-year-old Colt McCoy, which, by the way, I think they said 10,000 times during the game. It was like, he's 35. It's kind of like, imagine if you were a middle-aged lady and you shot a porn movie and you're like, what's the title of this movie? And like, oh, we'll tell you later when it comes out. And then when it comes out, it's like Older Ladies of the Night. You're like, hey, what the fuck, man? I didn't know we were shooting Older Women of the Night. Yeah. That's what essentially Colt McCoy is when he keep mentioning his age.
And then the Cowboys, they throw up a stinker. I don't know. What's going to be interesting, and I'm going to say the Packers, because they beat the Cardinals, when it came down to it, straight up, mano a mano, Packers won. So I got to give the edge to the Packers with Aaron Rodgers on the field.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know what these distractions, I don't know what the environment is in the locker room. I would think that even though, like you and I talked, that maybe Aaron Rodgers isn't the most personable guy, I do think that there's guys like Aaron Jones and Devontae Adams and other Randall Cobb's there and he brings a lot of experience. I would imagine that there's guys that can still hold the fort down, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I would think that this team is capable of rallying behind Aaron Rodgers, but I can't. I don't know. Is this going to divide them? Is this going to hurt them? Is Aaron Rodgers going to say, you know what? And he's capable of doing this, giving everyone the finger, saying, you know what? Screw all you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know what it's going to be. I'm going to give the edge to the Packers over the Cardinals with Aaron Rodgers solely because of that game. The Cowboys really disappointed. Although I'm going to say, like you said, Dak was rusty. Who knows? They're still a great team. And then, sometimes Tampa Bay gives you some head scratchers. They have some concerns. I think the NFC is definitely more wide open.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I got in my head Green Bay, Tampa Bay, Dallas. I think Dallas rights the ship. I think this week you can just throw it out. Kind of throw out your highest score, throw out your lowest score. So I'm going to go Dallas. Something worries me about an angry Aaron Rodgers. You know how Kobe played his best when he was angry? You know how Jordan plays? Now I'm worried that Aaron Rodgers is pissed and he's going to put it into overdrive.
And he could. And he absolutely
very well could. I don't see him walking away. I think deep inside he loves football, but he'll never say that. I don't think he wants...
No, he wants you to think that he likes mountain climbing more than football.
Yeah, he wants us to think that he can walk away at any time, but I think he loves the game, and I think he is tight with the team. So I would have liked this. Wouldn't this been cool? Aaron Rodgers just goes pro wrestling, and he leans into being the heel of the game. So they should have flown him like in a drone in like a hermetically sealed clear box across the field today. And he should have just been in the box, just giving the finger to everybody just to get the reaction. It would have been better if it was a home game, but He should just lean into being the heel.
Kind of like a Shawn Michaels, give him the
yes,
yeah.
Awesome. He's doing the belt thing all the time. Yeah, I love it. He's wearing the. Do you remember way back Jim McMahon would wear a headband, and didn't it say like the NFL sucks, or it said Roselle? It said Pete Roselle.
Roselle, yeah.
Rodgers needs to bring something like that back.
If Aaron Rodgers were to do something like that, like
it will come after him so hard.
Oh, that'd be like, ivermectin on the side of side of his head. That'd be sweet.
Would it be some crazy fucked up world we lived in where scientists discovered the only cure for coronavirus is to wear a MAGA hat? We would never cure the disease. People would never do that. They'd be like, fuck it, I'm not doing that. That would be an episode of The X-Files or Twilight Zone. We're like, oh, you have to wear the hat of the team that you hate to cure the disease? Ugh.
Right.
I'll just fucking die. I'll just go to the hospital. I cannot wear that hat. Can I wear it backwards?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to go Green Bay, angry Aaron Rodgers, and Dallas in the NFC Championship.
Okay.
Can't wait.
I cannot wait. It could be.
Yeah. Okay, make me angry argument of the week. I don't know if this is going to make you angry or not, but I'm going to say San Francisco parts ways with Jimmy G.
Nope, I'm happy. That you're not making me
happy.
angry.
You're not angry about that.
Music to my ears.
You're ready to move on.
Would I be making you angry if I said at some point Raiders at the end of the season they dropped Derek Carr?
I'm angry because I like Derek Carr. I think he's the opposite of Aaron Rodgers. He's like,
oh, that's a good
ultimate. But I'm not angry in the sense that he hasn't performed. He's our Tony Romo. We like him. He's got good stats, but we never win playoff games. We hardly ever make the playoffs.
Right.
So I'm not totally upset, but I am upset that nice guy Derek Carr is not on our team. I say we go for Aaron Rodgers. Remember we used to draft all the people who are in the twilight of their career.
Right.
We had Warren Sapp and Randy Moss and Jeff George. I said we go for Rodgers. Let's give it one run. He's a Raider. Raiders a state of mind. Oakland Raiders are a brand in themselves. So, all right, it doesn't make me angry. It makes me think. Okay. The argument. Okay, let's go. Franchise 1-year deal. Send to the practice squad. I'm going to go this week. Our evening games. Thursday night game. Sunday night game. Monday night football. Who do you franchise? Give the 1 year.
Franchise is always going to be a Monday Night Football. You just have to have Monday Night. That's the safest franchise of any segment we've done. I'm gonna send to the practice squad the Thursday night game. Okay, only because sometimes you're stuck with the Colts Jets kind of game. You know,
That was a punishment. Why did they do that to us?
It's kind of like ugh. Or you have to watch. You have to sit through the Jaguars playing a Thursday night game against the Titans. Yeah. And
by the way, Houston at Miami today. That should have been a London game. Why didn't we send that game to London? That was terrible.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind the Thursday game if you maybe just like the commissioner had in its power. Find the least interesting game of this coming Sunday. Pull one out and put it on Thursday.
Oh, like a punishment. Yes. Yeah. Yes. I don't mind that. All right. By the way, we have a final. Tennessee 28, LA Rams 16. Paris Hilton is beside herself in the luxury box.
and so what's left is give the 1 year deal to Sunday. They're doing a good job.
The Thursday game, I almost feel we're not fully utilizing. Like, we all know there's a Thursday game now. It's not like years ago where we forget that there's Thursday night games. So half the Thursday night games were on NFL Network. So now they're on Fox. Now I'm thinking, okay, great. Now I can watch them. So we need some A-listers announcing the game. We need a few gimmicks to promote it as well. I don't feel like Thursday night's being fully utilized. That's why I'm giving it to the practice squad. I'm going to go my franchise Sunday night, though. I like how it caps off the games. I like how we recap. I like how we set ourselves for Monday. Monday night games, sometimes I forget about because you're back to work.
Really? Oh,
you're planning your week. I sometimes forget there's a Monday night game. So I'm going to flip mine. I go franchise Sunday night, 1 year deal. Give me the Monday. And Thursday, I like your idea of punishing two teams and sending them to Thursday night.
Okay.
Punishing the fan base.
Would that mean that the Jets are playing every Thursday? That'd be the problem.
Could be Thursday night champions.
The Texans are playing it. We're doing a steady wheel of the Jaguars, Jets, and Texans and Dolphins just playing constantly. Yeah, that'd be Lions.
So if you're Cincinnati or something like that, you're like, who do we got next week? Oh, you got Houston. Shit, we're playing Thursday night. You just know. You just know that's a Thursday game. Okay, special challenge this week. I don't know if you noticed, but it was the Salute the Troops week in the NFL. By the way, it's something every week in the NFL. So Salute the Troops week in the NFL. There are 3 armed forces colleges in this country: Army, Navy, and the Air Force. Can you name their 3 mascots?
Jeez.
Start with Army.
Okay, hold on. Am I wrong that the Marines, they go by the Devil Dogs? Is that a nickname?
The Navy? You're talking about the Navy? There is no Marines college.
I'm sorry. Oh.
Yeah, college.
Okay. College, the actual team mascot.
Yeah, armed forces that play college football.
It is the Air Force Falcons.
You got that right.
It is the Navy Midshipmen.
2 for 2.
Ooh, the Army. Holy shnikes. The Army, Midshipmen, Falcons. The Golden Knights?
Black Knights.
Black Knights!
Close. Very close. I forgot about the Army one. Black Knights, I could not guess. I had to look those up. And an Air Force, Falcons. There's not a Falcon on their uniform. Okay, any extra points? Can you name any NFL players who served in the military?
Currently?
No, all time. You can go all time.
Oh, yeah, Roger Staubach, out of the Navy. That's the most famous.
I only found 4 names that I recognize.
Pat Tillman, obviously, and we were talking about him, a lot today, and rightfully so. I mean that there's no greater story of honor than Pat Tillman's story in the NFL and his service to the country. I'm stuck.
Here's the four I found. I found Roger Staubach. I found Pat Tillman. Chad Hennings played for the Cowboys.
That's right.
5 years ago was Air Force. And then this one, Rocky Blyer. From the Steelers from the 70s.
Was he a Marine?
I don't know which branch he was, but he served somewhere.
Let's continue that. But I am pretty sure he is a Marine.
Yeah, I found those four. There was a bunch of names.
I was wrong. United States Army.
There was a bunch of names from the 50s and 60s NFL, and I forget in those days everybody was in the Army, though. Like, Ted Williams was in there. Joe DiMaggio was in there from other sports. Of course,
David Robinson. Ted Williams did real stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he wasn't just messing around swinging some bats and, autographing some... He was up there. So
Elvis made a movie. These guys actually fired weaponry. Yeah. It was a different time. Our men did different things in those days. So that was the Armed Forces Week challenge. Okay, let's go to the awards for this week. The Sunday MVP. I'm doing mine on the fly. I'm giving it to the entire Tennessee Titans. No Derrick Henry. It was the biggest story of the week. That's solid. They just kicked the Rams' butt.
I'm gonna go with Lamar Jackson. I mean, the fact that he can lead this team from behind, he's impressing me, and I think this is a different Lamar Jackson this year. So everyone, look out for the Ravens.
Okay, way too early. Coach of the year. I'm giving mine to Kyle Kingsbury of the Arizona Cardinals.
Ooh,
I think I picked him already once, but. They're looking good. They're winning with Colt McCoy. Way too early coach of the year. Give me that guy.
That's good. I'm going to go with Mike Vrabel out of the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, we're flipping. I picked him 2 weeks ago.
There you go.
Not bad. Okay, it's time for legal ramifications. I've been mulling over this question this week because I've been watching a lot of court dramas. By the way, you were not halfway watching this Sunday game. What show is it you're watching?
I was watching Yellowstone, and so that's
are you ditching the Sunday night game for TV now for Yellowstone?
Pat, I almost ditched the Sunday night talk for Yellowstone. This thing's so good.
How could you? Okay, so in the spirit of my courtroom dramas. Which, by the way, in my courtroom dramas, I go for my dynasty. It's got to be Law and Order.
That's the king.
I love Law and Order.
That's the king.
It's Scooby-Doo for adults. You watch it. The guy is guilty at the beginning who was in the show for 2 minutes at the beginning.
Yeah.
And we all go home. We feel good about each other. But in those courtroom dramas, the legal proceedings in the courtroom essentially last 24 to 72 hours. They're done very quickly. So as you as a lawyer, what is the preparation like for that first day in court? What happens on the first day? What do you walk into that court prepared to do?
The first day in court, if you're actually in a trial, you're picking a jury, and everybody says it's jury picking. It's actually jury selection. It's actually jury deselection. You're getting rid of bad jurors. And to be more technical, you're getting rid of the guys you think are going to want to hang your client, okay? And just like the state is the government's trying to get rid of people that they think could potentially set that client free, okay? And so it's really a deselection process. Your first day, you really shouldn't. I mean, you're prepared. You're prepared to opening statements, and you're prepared to take the first witness, but really your first day, you're just prepared to pick, to find the best possible jury, which also means you have to educate the ones that are going to stay on the jury. Okay? So even though they may have, and everybody walks in with certain gut feelings, you just have to educate them, and the basic message is, okay, hold off on rendering a verdict right now until you hear everything that's presented. Okay, just so I'm asking you to just put everything aside for just a day or two or a week or two. I'm asking you to put everything aside and everything you think you know, and just give me a fair chance. And if you can educate the remaining jurors just that much, you've done your job.
Is That's the part of all the courtroom dramas we never see the jury selection part. Like we always see the opening arguments, except for a couple movies where they show the jury selection. What kind of questions do you ask those juries? You can't just outright ask, "Hey, you think you did it?"
No, you're good. That's a good point. No, you can't. No, you can't.
So there's rules on questions you can ask the potential jurors.
You can't. You can't basically like map out your entire case. So, hypothetically, let's say I got a guy that was caught with a gun at 11:45 at night, and then say, "Would you find him guilty?" And they're like, "Yeah, all right, you're off. Get out of here."
Right, right. You can't ask that.
No, you can't. You can't. They can't be contracting and stuff. But there's questions like what I typically like to do is I want them to acknowledge that we already have biases. Everybody walks into a courtroom and I think their gut is like, I'm fair, and everybody wants to be fair, right? I mean, it's like the scarlet letter A. It's like you don't want to have that letter. The U, unfair. I'm an unfair person. You don't want that. Nobody does. We all like to believe we are fair people, but that's not the case. The truth is we all have biases. We all have prejudices. And it's not just race, it's not just color. There's just certain things we like and certain things we don't like. And we make decisions based on that. What I'm trying to get them to understand is that it's okay to have biases. Okay? It's fine. But I'm asking you just can you put it aside? And that gets them thinking. I always like to ask, how many here like hearing two sides to a story? And of course, everybody raises their hand.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Everybody does, right? And then I shock them and I say, "Well, that's awesome." And I say, "So do I. I love to hear." When my kids fight, I need to hear both sides before I hand out a punishment. But then I say, "But what if you don't hear my side of the story? What if you don't hear my client testify? And are you going to hold that against them?" And some people say, "You know what, Omar? I am going to hold it against them. I think that if you're charged with a crime and you didn't do it, you should get up and say it. And that's fine." And I want them to acknowledge, just because they think that, bad jurors doesn't equal bad people. Okay? And so I want them to that's the one big thing I'm trying to get them to understand. Just because you may not be cut out for this jury, it doesn't mean you're not cut out for a later jury. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It just means that just today, it's best you probably sit this one out. And
you ask them this during jury selection or during opening statement?
No, during the selection.
Okay, so you address the whole jury at some point, or the whole pool of potentials at first, and then do you ask individual people questions?
Sometimes it gets to that. Yeah, you can.
Gotcha. What's some questions you would ask an individual? Say you had like a 55-year-old mother of two.
What's your fucking problem? No, no.
Are you on any medication?
Sometimes when you're doing individual voir dire, as they say, jury selection, when you're doing an individual, it's because they said something that maybe just needs to be clarified, something that they weren't, they didn't commit to. It's like that saying, well, would you hold it against my client if, or what if the defense lawyer didn't present, because, there's a burden of proof. The prosecution has to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. They have to present the evidence. You don't have to present anything on the defense. And so, you ask them, well, would you hold it against my client if he didn't even present a defense? And we don't have to present a defense. People don't get that, because Hollywood has said, yeah, don't worry, the lawyer's going to have witnesses and exist. Not always. It doesn't always work that way. And then they say, oh, you know what, Omar, I just don't know. Maybe I would later, but I'd have to see. Well, then we'll probably take them to the side and say, I know we didn't want to embarrass you or humiliate you out there, but this is the one time you got to give us a yes or no, because if you make the jury and you're deliberating and then you say, oh, you know what, I know I told them that I wasn't going to hold it against them, but the way things shaped up, he should have said something. Well, it's too late by then. We can't. It's an injustice is going to happen. So yeah, every now and then when they give us maybe like a vague answer and we have to hammer them down, and it could get pretty pressure packed, because we are really putting them on the spot. But that's how we take them individually, so that pressure is not there in front of the big group.
When it comes to calling witnesses, the defense calls their witnesses, the prosecution calls their witnesses. And I noticed a lot that the defense may not always put up the defendant as a witness. But could the prosecution call?
No.
How come the prosecution can't call
the
defendant?
The Fifth Amendment.
Got it. Okay.
You cannot be compelled to testify the right against self-incrimination.
I see. Can the prosecution call someone that the defense doesn't want them to put on the stand? I guess that's total.
They do that all the time.
Total possibility.
Yeah, they do that all the time.
As long as it's not the defendant,
right,
the prosecution has the right to call anybody involved that they want to get on the stand.
If they have personal knowledge of what happened, they can call them up.
And then lastly, what's the average duration of a court case?
No, it could be. I mean, it could be weeks. It could be days. It could be hours.
It can be that short? Hours?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, okay. What's the longest court case you've ever been involved in?
I think 2 weeks. I think it was intoxicated manslaughter, and it took a long time for the state. Yeah, maybe 2 weeks, but yeah, you hear I don't know how OJ went 7 months. You know what I mean? But that's
right.
And here in El Paso, we hear all these stories of we're week number 11 and I've never been anything like that, and it does happen in other places. It really doesn't happen here in El Paso. Oh,
interesting. So, legal ramifications. That's what you get when you ask Omar legal ramifications story. So, okay, Monday night. Chicago at Pittsburgh. I hate to say it, but this game's important. These teams are still in the mix. I think Chicago's frustrated us all year. Ben Roethlisberger seemed like he was dead and we buried him, and yet somehow they're still competitive. Chicago at Pittsburgh. What do you think?
I'm gonna go Pittsburgh. I'm still not sold on Justin Fields, even though to his to his credit, he's still very young, but I'm gonna go Chicago.
Chicago.
I'm gonna go Pittsburgh. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're going Pittsburgh. You think Roethlisberger looks good, bad, or average in this game?
He's looking average, but I think they have enough to beat Chicago.
You know what I was thinking too? Like, we all remember the good Super Bowls and the blowouts and the bad Super Bowls, but there's a list of teams that were just undeserved winners of Super Bowls. I'm going to give you an example of one. Number one was that first Pittsburgh Super Bowl against the Seahawks, where it was just penalties and drop passes. It was just a bad game.
Yeah.
And another one would be that Baltimore Ravens New York Giants Super Bowl, where it was just boring.
Well, that was a boring Super Bowl. But that Ravens defense deserved to be crowned champion.
Maybe good defenses just yield for boring games.
You're an offensive guy.
I'm gonna go. We need a list of Super Bowl duds, and I'm putting
that was one. That was a dud.
Putting that Ravens one and that Pittsburgh Ben Roethlisberger one in the category.
I'm gonna go with one that I saw at your parents' house. You weren't there.
What were you doing there?
We have a lot of fun when you're not around.
I'm learning this.
The Seattle-Denver one.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one.
Oh, that was an awful Super Bowl. That was painful.
Yeah, that was one of the rare Super Bowls where it was literally done on the kickoff. Wasn't it?
That was done. That was the first time the Super Bowl was in New York, cold weather.
Right, it was in New York. And I'm not sure if I'm remembering this right, but Seattle kicks to Denver. The guy takes it 3 yards deep in the end zone, runs it out, gets tackled like on the 8. And in the very next play, they snap it over Peyton Manning's head, and it's a safety. So the game is over inside of 45 seconds of actual gameplay. That's right. Throw that one in there. That one's definitely a dud Super Bowl.
Dud.
Total dud. I'm going to agree. I go Chicago. I'm going to disagree. I go Chicago. I see we see flashes of Justin Fields, and they pull off a win, and thus we are more confused going into Week 10.
That's fair.
Okay, we split on Monday night.
Now, if I don't finish, Yellowstone by kickoff.
Monday
I'm
night?
watching. But tomorrow night, because who knows if I doze off right now. I'm watching Yellowstone. I said it.
Take us out on this. I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Sell me on Yellowstone.
Kevin
And
Costner.
begin.
Kevin Costner. We've seen since we were kids. Robin Hood and other movies like that.
Waterworld. I watched Waterworld the other day.
Kevin Costner was born to play the role of John Dutton in Yellowstone, and there is no other role I can see him in. He was born to play this. Great movie, great acting, and
10
it is
seconds.
very simple. You got to check it out.
Okay. Right on time.
This was a guy. Here I go. After I tell you, every young man wishes they could be a John Dutton.
There you go. Yellowstone.
Check it out.
For Omar Carmona, for Patrick Ramirez, this was the Sunday Night Talk for Week 9 in the NFL. See you on Monday. Maybe, Omar, if you finish Yellowstone.
There you go.
Okay, that is it. That is the show, everyone. What a week. Did you watch? Did you cry over your team? Did you change your clocks? I got to know these things. It was Sunday. Hey, don't forget, this Thursday, catch me doing live stand-up comedy right here on the West Coast. Flapperscomedy.com is where you go. Or to me, right to the DMs, right to the message, right to the email. I can get you tickets too. Come out and see me doing comedy, not to mention a lot of other great folks as well, right here in the club. That's right, a traditional club. You go, you eat, you drink, and you watch comedy. That's how it is. That's how it's best. So, don't forget, come out and see. How about that legal ramifications today? How about our talk of LA sports and Aaron Rodgers and disappointments? It seems like we talked more about disappointments more than anything this week on the show. Well, hey, that's how it goes. It's a long season. We're going to turn it around. Talking about my team specifically. It's going to happen. It has to happen. I don't know if it's going to happen. Anyway, thank you everyone for listening. Don't forget to check out my other shows on my channel, my Running It Back interviews. The Halloween special is still up, not to mention previous weeks of the Sunday Night Talk with me and Omar Carmona. So, for Omar Carmona and myself, Patrick Ramirez, this was the Sunday Night Talk. Have a good week, everyone.